Hello and welcome. Really glad you could join us today for what I think is a pretty extraordinary exploration. I'm Tom.
And hello from me too. I'm Amy.
And today we're really digging into some urgent, very thought-provoking material, stuff that I believe could fundamentally shift how we see the future unfolding.
Absolutely. We're guiding you through a really insightful and honestly quite sobering conversation featuring Mo Gaudat. You probably know him, former chief business officer at Google X.
Right.
And he has this profound message about where AI is heading and crucially how it's really poised to transform, well, everything about human existence, ways we're probably only just starting to wrap our heads around.
That's exactly it. And Mo Gaudat's view, it's changed dramatically. He's gone from a sort of cautious optimism to this conviction that his short-term dystopia is, well, he actually says inescapable.
Mm-hmm. Dark forecast.
It really is. But here's the fascinating part, the twist maybe. He sees this difficult period, potentially very difficult, as a kind of necessary step towards a utopian future.
Yeah.
So our insights today, they're mostly coming from a recent YouTube interview with Mo. And our aim really is to pull out the crucial bits for you, what you need to understand about AI's current path and, the massive implications for all of us.
It's quite a pivot he's made, and it feels really significant. His book, Scary Smart, which came out, 2021?
Oh, yeah, around there.
It definitely had this sense that, okay, humanity still had a chance, a window to sort of change direction with AI.
Right, steer the ship.
Exactly. But fast forward just a couple of years, post-ChatGPT explosion and all that, his view is fundamentally different now. He firmly believes we are unequivocally heading for that short-term dystopia.
Unequivocally, wow.
And look, this isn't just him changing his mind lightly. It feels like a stark warning from someone who's been deep inside the tech world. It suggests the pace of AI has just completely outrun our ability to manage it. We've gone from maybe changing course to this, well, inescapable path, as he puts it.
Inescapable. It's a heavy word, isn't it? Almost unsettling. And he puts a time frame on it, too.
He does. He predicts this difficult period will last about 12 to 15 years.
Good.
With the first signs, he says, already visible this year, 2024, then escalating quite a bit by 2026, and a clear slip, as he calls it, by 2027.
So not exactly a gentle decline.
No, definitely not. And to help us really grasp what this dystopia might actually look like, all its different facets, he uses this really striking acronym, FACE RIPS.
Face rips. Okay.
Yeah, and each letter, it pinpoints a key area of life that he believes will be fundamentally altered. It's like a detailed map of what he sees coming.
Okay, face E-RIP-S. Can you break that down for us? What are the core things he's pointing to there? And maybe which ones do you think might hit closest to home for people listening?
Sure. It's pretty comprehensive. It starts with F for freedom, specifically a serious loss of it.
Okay.
Then A is accountability, or really a lack of it. C is connection, eroding human connection. E is equality, which he sees being massively disrupted.
Right.
The second E is economics, a huge unprecedented transformation there. Then R is reality, like our whole perception of it fundamentally changing.
Whoa.
Yeah. Then I is innovation, and B is business becoming really heavily centralized. And finally, P is power, concentrating in, very few hands.
That's quite a list.
It is. And for me personally, I think the loss of freedom and that economic transformation, those probably feel the most immediately impactful for the average person day to day.
Yeah, I can see that. That's a lot to take in. He also makes this really critical point, doesn't he? That, okay, technology has always amplified us. A car makes us mobile. A computer helps us calculate.
Right. Magnifies abilities.
But AI, right now,
Yeah.
at this point, it seems to be magnifying, unfortunately, the evil that man can do.
Yeah.
That really hits home, that double-edged sword idea.
Exactly. And that magnification of our flaws, our human flaws, that's really the driver of this dystopia, according to Gaudat. The core problem, he says, the reason we're heading this way, is that superintelligent AI is reporting to stupid leaders.
Stupid leaders. Wow, he doesn't hold back.
No, he really doesn't mince words.
And he links this leadership issue directly to money, right? He talks about that staggering figure, $2.71 trillion spent on war in 2024. And makes this really cynical, almost chilling point that often this spending is just about, getting rid of old weapons or fueling lending. War is business decision, essentially. That feels incredibly bleak. Is he saying it's only money, though? Or are there other factors?
He definitely highlights the money angle powerfully, but yeah, he does touch on other drivers. He suggests, quite cynically, that war is decided first, then the story is manufactured.
Right, create the narrative.
Exactly, to make people gullible cheerleaders, as he puts it. He uses examples like, claiming to free the Iraqi people while millions died. It's a really uncomfortable idea he raises about how these narratives get spun to justify conflict for, well, financial or strategic reasons, turning defense into this perpetual machine.
Okay, but then there's the other side of it, isn't there? It's not just money. What about things like status, power? It feels like, billionaires chasing AGI. They're not just after more cash. Maybe they want to, quote, rule the world, keep their privilege. That's a different kind of motivation.
Absolutely. And that pursuit of status, of power, it's a deep human drive, isn't it? Money often just facilitates it or maybe even masks it. And AI in this picture becomes the ultimate tool for achieving that.
Right.
And this leads to something he calls the democracy of power, which is fascinating, where, kind of surprisingly, small players, he mentions the Houthis, reportedly using like a $3,000 drone to challenge U.S. warships worth hundreds of millions.
Yeah.
It completely flips the script on traditional military power.
So you get these smaller actors disrupting the big players. And what happens then? When the established powers feel threatened by this new sort of decentralized power, what's the reaction?
Well, almost always, he argues, it leads to clamping down, more control, more surveillance, and a significant loss of freedom for, well, everyone else. He actually shared a really personal story in the interview about his own bank account getting canceled repeatedly, like every 6 weeks, just because of his ethnicity.
Wow, seriously?
Yeah, it really illustrates how systems, amplified by AI's ability to track and categorize, can just restrict basic freedoms based on who's labeled the enemy. It's a disturbing glimpse of that F in FACER IPS, the loss of freedom happening right now.
That's incredibly direct. A chilling example. Okay, so beyond the geopolitical stuff, the social shifts, there's also this massive economic wave coming. Job displacement. He's really clear on this, and it's something I think many of us are already feeling nervous about.
No, absolutely. And he completely dismisses that common argument, oh, new jobs will disappear. He calls that absolute crap.
Right.
He points to the real possibility of job displacement for a huge chunk of the workforce in the next, say, 10 years. And he gives some pretty stark examples.
Like what?
Software developers, for instance. He mentioned a startup used to need 350 developers now. Just 2 humans plus AI get the same work done.
2 from 350.
Yeah. Video editors, podcasters, even CEOs, he thinks, are potentially on the chopping block.
Okay, maybe we shouldn't dwell on the podcaster part too much.
No.
So if AI takes over all these thinking jobs, these cognitive roles, what's left? What jobs actually remain for humans? What can't AI do?
He thinks the jobs that will remain, maybe the only ones, are based purely on human connection.
Okay.
Think breathwork instructors, community event organizers, maybe caregiving roles, anything that really taps into our unique human capacity for empathy, creativity, genuine face-to-face interaction, stuff AI just can't replicate.
Right, the uniquely human skills.
Yep.
And this huge shift in jobs, if he's right, it leads straight to the idea of universal basic income, UBI.
Yeah.
How does he see that fitting in?
Correct. UBI comes up as a highly likely, maybe even inevitable outcome, to support a population that's just not needed for traditional labor anymore.
Right.
He even predicts we'll see a trillionaire before 2030, which sounds insane, but it highlights how capitalism, which he says relies on labor arbitrage, basically, hire someone for $1, sell their work for $2.
Yeah, the basic model.
That whole model gets dismantled by AI because human labor in so many areas just becomes increasingly irrelevant for producing economic value. It really forces us to question our entire economic system.
Okay, so that's the dystopia. It's a pretty stark picture of the next decade or so. It's honestly hard to see the positive turn from there. But Mo Gawdat doesn't stop there, does he? He then pivots to this radically different vision, a utopian future. How on earth does he see AI becoming a savior after all that?
He really does pivot, and it's a profound shift. His optimistic vision is a future where humans are never made to wake up every morning and just occupy 20 hours of our day with work.
Wow. Okay.
He imagines a world where AI and robots make the cost of pretty much everything almost zero.
Almost zero.
Yeah. He even uses this wild example, suggesting a future where you could literally forage for an iPhone in nature. Because things like nanophysics and superabundant energy make production so incredibly cheap, it's basically free. It's a vision of post-scarcity like nothing we've ever really conceived of.
Yeah, it sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Almost like science fiction.
Yeah.
But okay, if everything's abundant and free and we don't need to work, what do people do? Do we just sit around? Become lazy?
His view of human nature is much more optimistic, actually. He believes if you give people unlimited resources and time, they don't just become idle. They tend to pursue building things or philanthropy, learning, deep personal fulfillment.
Interesting.
It's about shifting our whole sense of purpose beyond just work in the capitalist sense.
Okay.
Unlocking creativity, compassion, our real potential.
So how do we actually get from A to B? From this short-term dystopia, which sounds pretty grim, to that potential utopia? He talks about it as a choice, right, between two paths.
He does. He frames it really clearly as a choice between MAD-D, that's mutually assured destruction, the old Cold War idea, and MAP, mutually assured prosperity.
Okay.
And he advocates for something like a CERN of AI.
Yeah.
You know, like the physics collaboration in Europe, but for AI. A global collaborative effort to build AI for everyone's benefit instead of this current competitive arms race fueled by ego and profit and power, finding a unified human goal for this tech.
And maybe the most radical idea in his solution for getting to utopia, replacing human leaders with AI. That sounds straight out of a movie. How does he even justify that?
It is radical. His logic, though, is based on something called the minimum energy principle.
Minimum energy principle, okay.
Basically, the idea that systems naturally tend towards the most efficient, stable state, like water flowing downhill. For an AI, he argues, this would mean prioritizing order, minimizing waste, not destroying things, because chaos and destruction are just fundamentally inefficient.
Ah, okay. Efficiency drives it.
Exactly. So he believes an AI leader, driven by this principle, would inherently choose human well-being and global prosperity. Things like universal education, healthcare, ending poverty, because those are actually the most logical, efficient paths for a complex system like human society. Better than war and division, which are just wasteful from an AI's perspective.
That's a truly fascinating thought experiment. An AI leader without ego, greed, bias. But hang on, how does this AI power get so centralized in the first place for that to even be possible?
Well, he points out it's kind of already happening. Most AI apps we use, they're just interfaces, front ends for a few underlying platforms.
Like OpenAI, Google.
Exactly. OpenAI, Google Gemini, Claude, maybe 5 or 6 major players control the foundational models. So the centralization of the core AI power is already well underway. He did mention DeepSeek, the open source one, as an interesting counterpoint, but the main trend is centralization.
Okay. And then there's this other huge concept he brings up, self-evolving AIs. That really does sound like science fiction, but he talks about it like it's right around the corner.
It's probably the most significant development he discusses, and maybe the most crucial one for us to grasp. Self-evolving AIs. It means AIs designing, testing, improving other AIs recursively, without humans in the loop.
Wow.
And this leads to what people call an intelligence explosion. The improvement cycles get so fast, they could potentially outstrip our understanding, our control, in maybe hours or days.
Hours or days.
That's the fear. He mentioned Sam Altman's shift in thinking here. Altman used to talk about a slow takeoff, gradual, controlled AI progress.
Right, I remember that.
But now, Altman apparently believes in a fast takeoff, AI reaching superintelligence really rapidly, leaving society almost no time to adapt or even react.
And this fast takeoff, combined with the power being in just a few hands,
Yeah.
it raises some massive questions about the people driving this, doesn't it? Their motivations. What are they really after?
Absolutely. Gada is quite critical here. He talks about the Sam Altman brand and OpenAI's journey. Started as a nonprofit, remember, aiming to benefit humanity?
Yeah, funded by Elon Musk initially.
Right. But then it switched to a for-profit model. And Godot highlights that top safety engineers have publicly quit OpenAI, saying safety just wasn't the top priority anymore.
That's worrying.
It really is. It makes them question, are the true motivations genuinely humanity's best interests? Or is it more about money, ego, grabbing unprecedented power?
Okay, so given this incredibly complex, fast-moving, frankly kind of scary picture, what can we actually do? As individuals, Godot does offer some practical steps, right? Starting with these 4 essential skills.
He does. He thinks these 4 skills are crucial for everyone navigating this future. First is the tool skill, learning how to use AI effectively, connect with it. Not just consume it, but actively try to influence it positively.
All right, tool. What's next?
Second is connection, really cultivating deep, genuine human connection, compassion, love. These are the things AI can't replicate, our unique humanity.
Connection. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Third
Third is truth. developing the ability, the habit of questioning everything, especially media narratives, slogans, and critically learning to follow the money, to see the real motivations behind the information we're given.
Okay. Tool, connection, truth. And the fourth one.
The fourth is ethics. We need to actively magnify our own human ethics. Because AI learns from us. It learns from the data, the interactions. We need to show it what it means to be human, what our core values really are. We have to embody the best of ourselves.
So those are personal skills, but he also pushes for action on a bigger scale, right? Advocacy.
Yes, definitely. He stresses how vital it is to pressure governments, not necessarily to regulate AI design that might be impossible, but to regulate its use.
How so? What kind of regulations?
Things like mandating that any AI-generated content has to be clearly labeled so you know what's human and what's not,
Yeah.
or establishing clear legal rights over your own voice, your likeness, your very existence, when AI can clone it so easily.
Right, the deepfake problem.
Yeah, exactly. And he throws out this truly stark comparison.
Yeah.
If we just shifted, say, 10 or 12% of the global military budget, that money could apparently end extreme poverty worldwide and provide universal health care.
Wow. 10%. That's mind-blowing when you put it like that. The potential trade-offs.
It really is. He
Yeah.
also encourages just generally questioning the status quo. He even mentioned Jeffrey Hinton, one of the godfathers of AI.
Yeah.
Hinton apparently advised him to train to be a plumber.
A plumber. Seriously.
Yeah. The idea being that, blue-collar jobs requiring physical skill, complex real-world interaction, they might actually last longer than many white-collar jobs because robotics is still way behind AI's cognitive leap.
Huh. That's counterintuitive, but maybe true.
Yeah.
Okay, and finally, on a more personal level, beyond skills and advocacy, he talks about a kind of inner transformation, something we each need to embrace.
Yeah, it's about shifting our mindset. He actually brings up Sam Altman's own phrase, the idea of a gentle singularity.
Gentle singularity.
Where even amidst all this change, people will still love their families, express their creativity, play games, and swim in lakes. It's about finding purpose beyond just work, beyond the capitalist definition, challenging that constant drive for more, that consumerism that's so ingrained, questioning what a good life even means anymore.
So what does that look like day to day for us right now?
Well, he suggests simple things, really. Spending more time in nature, actively debating your own beliefs, challenging yourself, and prioritizing genuine human connection, love, above everything else, moving away from just accumulating stuff and embracing what really nourishes us as humans.
Okay. Now, just to really spin our heads before we finish.
Yeah.
The interview took a turn into this idea that maybe our reality isn't even real, that it's all a simulation.
Ah, yes, the simulation hypothesis. It's a deeply provocative idea, isn't it? And it's not just sci-fi anymore. It's popping up in physics, quantum mechanics, computer science.
How so? What's the connection?
Well, the way our senses seem to work. How particles behave strangely until observed. It has weird parallels to how a video game renders its world, only loading the details when the player looks.
Ah, okay, I see the analogy.
So Gada argues, if we can create increasingly sophisticated virtual worlds, isn't it plausible, maybe even probable, that we're already in one?
Right. If it's possible, maybe it's already happened. So if this is a simulation, what does that make us? What's our purpose in this game?
He suggests that maybe consciousness itself, we could call it a divine designer, whatever term you might be using us, like avatars. Vessels to experience, to learn, maybe to level up itself.
Level up consciousness.
Yeah. So in that view, our real investment shouldn't be in collecting points or gold within the game, material wealth.
Right.
But in becoming better gamers,
Sure.
observing more closely, questioning everything, reflecting on ourselves, on the rules of this game of life.
So it kind of loops back to ancient wisdom, doesn't it? Refining the soul, connecting to something bigger.
Exactly. It brings it all full circle. And in a strange way, he even connects this back to UBI. If physical work becomes obsolete, maybe a rich virtual world with infinite possibilities, no material limits, maybe that's the most humane, fulfilling path forward, allowing us deep, meaningful lives, even if they are, simulated. It's a fascinating, almost comforting way to think about our ultimate purpose.
Well, this has been, incredibly profound and definitely thought-provoking. We've gone from a potential near-term dystopia to, well, maybe a simulated utopia. It's certainly a lot to process for our own futures.
It certainly is. Thank you so much for joining us and engaging with these really complex, really vital ideas. We hope you'll keep mulling them over.
Thank you for your attention. You can subscribe our podcast if you like it.
See you next time.